You know, when I say things, like, I think people believe me so much that they take it a different way. It's not like, it's not rap anymore at that point. Now it's like in a personal tag. I didn't mean it. I said some great things about him in the book that I have coming out.
You'll frame it that way, but I know you make a reference to, JayZ's record, which, I respect the strategy of it all. It's a good thing I ain't got no record out though with that on there, because I'd be hot. You know what I'm saying? I'd be hot. And again, historically, I ain't never in my history not dealt with anything that make reference to me.
In one line, JayZ turned MC Hammer into a joke. Hammer went broke. But the truth, Hammer was paying 200 people, giving jobs to his community, and changing lives. So when Jay dissed him, Hammer fired back with accusations of soul selling, secret symbols, and an industry cover-up. Now his daughter is exposing everything the game tried to bury. This wasn't just a diss. It was erasure.
If you making reference to how I eat, I'ma deal with it, one way or the other. So
it only took one line to reignite a quiet storm. In 2010, JayZ dropped a verse on Kanye's So Appalled and slid in a jab that most people missed, until Hammer heard it. Hammer went broke, so I'm more focused. Just 8 words, and yet it hit harder than most diss tracks. The media ran with it. Fans laughed, memes followed, and overnight, MC Hammer wasn't just the guy with parachute pants. He was the example of failure. But to Hammer, this wasn't just a throwaway lyric. If you're making reference to how I eat, he said, I'ma deal with it, one way or the other.
Y'all know what this is, and you know how I get down. Now, I'm supposed to tell you your thing is over with. And you gonna come out here, and I want you to be right here with me. I'm not high.
This wasn't the first time the industry tried to make Hammer a punchline. But this time, it came from the top, JayZ, the mogul, the media darling, the gatekeeper. And for Hammer, it crossed a line. Because that one lyric didn't just question his finances. It dismissed everything he built, everything he gave, and everything he sacrificed. And the response wasn't subtle. He clapped back with a diss track called Better Run Run, packed with cryptic bars and dark symbolism that painted JayZ as someone who, in Hammer's words, sold his soul. I can see it in his eyes. Hammer rapped. The boy sold his soul. Devil said, I'll give you the world. He said, I'll take it.
Let's go there. The game is so cold. I can see it in his eye. The boy sold his soul. Devil said, I'ma give you the world. I take it, plus give me a girl. Mr. Devil, can you give me a sign? He said, throw the rock up. That's one of mine. Let's go. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine.
This wasn't just beef. This was personal. And it wasn't just about money. It was about legacy. But what most people didn't know is that Hammer was never broke in the way they said. He didn't fall off. He fell on purpose. And the reason why? That's what makes this story so much bigger than a diss track. The story they told was simple. MC Hammer blew $30 million on luxury, dancers, and bad decisions. That's the headline. But it's also a lie, because what Hammer actually did was something almost no artist in the game would ever risk. He used his fortune to save people. Everybody knew I had 200 employees. Hammer said, it wasn't no secret. So, what? You think I was paying them in hamburgers?
Everybody knew that I had 200 employees. It wasn't no secret. So what you think, I was paying them in hamburgers?
He was hiring childhood friends, classmates, neighbors, people who were dying in his hometown. Literally. Not industry friends. Not PR moves. Real people. Real jobs. Real lives. Some of the people that were dying were my classmates, my neighbors. He recalled. I'd call home and ask about John. John's dead. What you mean John's dead? He was alive 2 weeks ago.
Somebody was paying that payroll. I was doing that. So if you wanted to now say the story is MC Hammer just pissed his money off when you knew that I was employing 200 people from my community, it said more about you than it did about me. We were dying. This is the real thing. It's not fake. Go and look at the rate in my city at the time. Some of the people that were dying were my classmates, my neighbors. So when I had the Hammer thing, I would literally call home. I'd be on the road. I'd call home. I say, hey, what John doing? What you mean what John doing? John dead. I said, what you mean John is dead? I just talked to him 2 weeks ago. He said, yeah, John dead and Sam told him. Sam lived 2 houses down from John. Let me speak to Sam then. Hey, Sam, man, check this out, man. Why? Well, I said, why don't you come out here on the road with me, man? I can give you $30,000 a year. I can't give you what you're making on the block, but, man, I can't have you keep doing what you're doing. I mean, you killing the very cats we grew up with. Well, 10 turned to 20.
Hammer was calling folks off the block and offering them salaries. Not handouts, jobs. Come on the road with me. I can give you $30K a year. I can't match what you're making in the streets, but I can keep you alive. And that's exactly what he did for over 200 people. So when the media framed it as reckless spending, it wasn't just disrespectful. It was erasure, because this wasn't about money. This was about who gets to be celebrated and who gets rewritten. If you now want to say the story is MC Hammer just pissed his money off, he said, when you knew I was employing 200 people from my community, it says more about you than it does about me. Hammer wasn't broke. He was broken by the system for choosing people over profit. But that's not a story the industry likes to tell, because it reveals what hip-hop has never wanted to confront.
You know, Hammer was a big dog, man. He got respect in the streets. He came from a respected crew. And they handled business, him and his brother Lewis and the crew. And, you know, when we saw each other, it was respect and love.
That you can do everything right and still get buried. When JayZ dropped that now infamous line, most rappers would have shrugged it off. Hammer didn't. Instead, he clapped back with Better Run Run, a full-blown diss track drenched in cryptic warnings, bold accusations, and one message loud and clear. You disrespected the wrong one. In the track, Hammer doesn't just call Jay out. He goes spiritual, dark, accusatory. I can see it in his eyes. The boy sold his soul. Devil said, I'll give you the world. He said, I'll take it. Plus, give me a girl.
Let's go there. The game is so cold. I can see it in his eye. The boy sold his soul. Devil said, I'ma give you the world. I take it, plus give me a girl.
He accuses JayZ of making deals with the devil, of flashing symbols linked to secret societies. And the video, it wasn't subtle either. A JayZ lookalike runs through a forest, being hunted by a demonic figure. The symbolism is heavy. Illuminati vibes, Masonic signs, pyramids, hidden messages. Mr. Devil, can you give me a sign? Hammer raps. He said, throw the rock up. That's one of mine. He's not just talking rap beef anymore. He's calling out the entire system. And the most chilling part, JayZ never responded. Not a line, not a tweet, nothing.
Entourage was something like I never seen in my life. Like it was literally
100 people.
More than 100 people, probably.
That's
like,
actually how he. That's actually
but it
how
was
he,
girls, guys, gangsters, dancers, everybody.
I go right on Hammer because they said he is that real, and it was like.
Some fans say Jay didn't respond because Hammer's track was corny. Others think it was too off the wall to take seriously. But people who knew Hammer knew better. See, Hammer wasn't just a flashy entertainer. He was connected, deeply connected to the streets. You be talking about Hammer, one man said, but run up on him. Hammer beat your ass. This wasn't bravado. It was fact. Hammer had a real entourage, over 100 deep. Not security guards, real ones. Friends from Oakland, ex-street dudes, people who didn't need to prove anything. Hammer was a big dog, one OG said. He came from a respected crew. He didn't need to pay nobody to handle business.
I wouldn't agree to that, but I would say without spending any money, Hammer could have told some people to fuck him the fuck up. Like that wouldn't have been, it wouldn't have, I know who Hammer was affiliated with, and he wouldn't have to pay to tell somebody to fuck somebody up. His people would just do it. We from Oakland. Like he wouldn't even have to say it. They just, if somebody was making Hammer uncomfortable, without him saying I'm uncomfortable, somebody around him would have came to you and said, quit making Hammer uncomfortable. Right. It would have been like a no negotiable.
So when Jay took a jab, he wasn't just poking a has-been. He was stepping into a lane he wasn't built for. And Hammer made it clear he wasn't hiding. I'm fixin' to tell you it's over with. You gonna come out here? I want you right here with me. This wasn't just music, it was personal. And for Jay, silence might have been the safest move.
I said some great things about him in the book that I have coming out. That wasn't like a cheap plug, but I really
decoded.
I really said some really nice. He's gonna be like embarrassed.
Wow.
You know, he's gonna be embarrassed. I said some really great things about him in the book and about people's perception of him and how he's from East Oakland. And you know, I said really great things about him. I said but you know, whatever it is what it is.
But here's where it gets even darker. According to Hammer's daughter, Aqaba Bural Hammer, this wasn't just a rap battle. It was part of a long, quiet campaign to erase her father's legacy permanently. She says the jokes, the mockery, the silence around his contributions wasn't random. It was intentional because Hammer didn't play the game the industry wanted. He gave away money instead of hoarding it. He uplifted people instead of stepping on them. And worst of all, he stayed clean.
Listen to my first album, when I did the skit, and I was like, you know what? That goddamn MC Hammer, him, his mama, and the whole nine. That nigga came up to me on MTV Cribs on the last episode they had, where everybody out on, not MTV Cribs, sorry about that, I'm zoned. On the last Dr. Dre and Ed Lover on MTV, when they had the last episode.
Yo MTV Raps.
Yeah, Yo MTV Raps. When the last episode they shot, when they had everybody rapping on it, MC Hammer was there. That nigga approached me. He was like, Red, I'm gonna tell you something, you young, but I don't allow nobody talking about my mama. You understand me? I said, yes, sir.
While others built legacies on betrayal, ego, and control, Hammer raised 5 kids, stayed married for nearly 4 decades, and lived outside the spotlight. It was really hard watching my dad be mocked constantly, Aqaba said, especially when the next generation was just starting to see what he really did for the culture. To her, JayZ diss wasn't just disrespect. It was an attack on everything Hammer stood for. And unlike most rap beefs, this one didn't fade. It festered because the damage wasn't just to Hammer's image. It was to his entire family. Let's be real for a second. Hammer gave away millions helping others, and they clowned him. JayZ cheated, collabed with predators, and walked through scandals untouched. He's been linked to R. Kelly, stayed silent during serious allegations, and was confirmed to have cheated on Beyoncé multiple times. He's also been connected to rumors about young stars like Aaliyah and Foxy Brown in ways that still spark debate online. But somehow, Hammer's the one who lost everything. One man gets mocked for falling off while saving lives, a fan wrote, and the other gets praised as an icon while stepping over people. The industry didn't just pick a favorite, it picked a narrative, and Hammer didn't fit. But here's what the industry couldn't erase: Hammer's impact. This was a man who took hip-hop global. He was selling out stadiums when most rappers were still local. He had endorsement deals, international tours, a whole media empire. And he brought people with him. He wasn't just the guy with the pants. One old school artist said, he was the blueprint for the bag. He didn't just break barriers. He broke the mold, but he didn't play along. And the cost? Everything. And yet, he never begged for flowers. He stayed quiet, focused, humble. Until now, this wasn't just about a lyric. It was about the system choosing image over integrity, power over principle. Hammer didn't lose his legacy. It was stolen, twisted, then sold back to the world as a joke. And now, thanks to his daughter, fans, and people finally telling the truth, that narrative is falling apart. Because when you really look at the facts, the question isn't, why did Hammer fall off? The real question is, why did the industry make sure he did? So now you've seen the side of MC Hammer the industry tried to bury. Do you think JayZ crossed the line with that lyric? Or was Hammer's response exactly what the culture needed? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear from you. And if you believe legends like Hammer deserve more than just silence, hit that like button, subscribe for more real stories, and share this with someone who only knew half the truth. Because the industry might try to erase the past, but we're here to bring it back.